Hi, I'm Michael Katz with the Tennessean here on the day after the big election last night. I'm with my colleague Sisk, and we're going to talk about a few takeaways from yesterday's elections. Chaz, can you give us an update on where things stand in the 4th Congressional District Republican primary?
Yeah, there's been some differing reports today about who holds the lead in that race. The most up-to-date numbers that we're seeing are actually the same ones that we were reporting last night, which is that Congressman DesJarlais holds about a 35 vote lead. I think this is a really interesting race, and how close it's been. It's been really widely watched. The real takeaway that I'm taking from this is that a lot of the voters seem to have forgiven, or at least willing to set aside, Congressman DesJarlais' past personal life. He ran a campaign that he was very active in sort of bringing himself out before the voters in the last 2 years, and a lot of voters, maybe not, we're not quite sure quite yet whether it's going to be enough, but a lot of voters seem to have set all that aside. I think on the other hand, Tracy kind of struggled to find a message really that could really hurt the congressman. I know that you've been looking into today the Democratic candidate for governor. You spoke earlier today with Chairman Roy Herron of the Democratic Party. What did he tell you about Charlie Brown, the Democratic nominee?
Well, he said he was looking forward to learning more about him from my reporting, so that gives you some sense of it. But Chairman Herron and others say that it's just hard for a party that's out of power against a popular governor to come up with a really strong nominee. I mean, the problem for Democrats is that this comes 2 years after Mark Clayton was their Senate nominee, and while Mr. Brown may not have the extremist views of Mr. Clayton, as far as we know, he is another nobody and a bit of a character who's going to be carrying the Democratic flag for the next 3 months. Let's talk a little bit about the retention elections. 3 Supreme Court justices faced maybe an unprecedented effort to oust them, but they prevailed by a pretty good margin. What did you think of all that?
You know, I would say of all the results last night, this may be the one that surprised me the most. The conventional wisdom has been that the voters will vote to retain in most cases. I think, though, that conventional wisdom hadn't been tested a whole lot. There's really only been 2 races where there was a replace campaign mounted seriously, and that where it got close. And in one of those, they prevailed, and one they didn't prevail, and that being A. Birch in 1998. I kind of thought this might actually that it actually might the repeal side might or the replace side might actually win yesterday, and I was surprised by the large margin of the retained victory. I know last night you were following the U.S. Senate race between Lamar Alexander and Joe Carr and some other candidates, George Flynn. What did you think of the outcome there? Were you surprised at all by the results?
Well, I wasn't surprised that Senator Alexander prevailed, but he did come out in the end with a little bit less than 50% of the vote. I mean, you could argue that was expected given the big field, but it does also show that a little more than 50% of the Republican electorate was not thrilled with him, or he wasn't their first choice. It looked like Representative Carr did pretty well here in Davidson County and in some other Middle Tennessee counties, which maybe shows that this is a part of the state where the Tea Party is pretty strong, but not strong enough statewide to displace a 2-term incumbent who's still, reasonably popular. Well, thanks for your time, and
always fun.
We appreciate you guys watching us, and keep up with the Tennessean and Tennessean.com over the next few days as we continue to follow up on the election and look ahead to the November general election.